Imagine this nightmare. You've spent weeks planning your dream trip, booked the perfect flight, packed your suitcase, and made it through the gauntlet of security checks. You're standing at the gate, boarding pass in hand, watching your plane gleam under the airport lights. You can almost feel the wheels lifting off the runway already. And then, it all collapses. The gate agent scans your pass, looks at you with that rehearsed smile, and suddenly says the words no traveler ever wants to hear. Sorry, you can't board. In 2025, more travelers than ever are being denied boarding, and not just for obvious reasons. Some of the causes are so bizarre, so shocking, they'll make you rethink every step of your airport routine. This isn't just about being late or forgetting your passport. These are hidden pitfalls, silent traps, and policies you probably never realized could kill your trip before it even starts. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 11 jaw-dropping reasons why passengers are being denied boarding in 2025, and more importantly, what you can do to make sure it never happens to you. And trust me, when we get to reason number 11, you'll see how something totally out of your control could destroy your entire journey. So buckle up, because what you're about to learn could be the difference between sipping cocktails on the beach or standing stranded at the terminal watching your plane leave without you. Reason 1, your carry-on is too big and you refuse to check it. You think your carry-on is safe, right? After all, you've used that bag a dozen times, you've stuffed it into overhead bins without a problem. But here's the reality in 2025. Airlines have become ruthless when it comes to enforcing carry-on size rules. At the gate, you'll see those dreaded metal racks, and this year, agents are actually using them. If your bag doesn't slide in perfectly, they don't care how much you paid for your ticket or how many flights you've taken before. They'll tell you to check it on the spot. And here's where it gets ugly. If you refuse, you're not just paying a fee. You could be denied boarding right there, in front of everyone. Sounds dramatic, but it's happening. Travelers carrying valuables, medications, even priceless instruments have been caught in this nightmare. One world-renowned violinist was told to either check her 200-year-old violin or skip the flight. Imagine being forced to hand over something irreplaceable to the chaos of the baggage hold. Brutal. And here's the twist. You won't win this fight. Once the gate agent says your bag doesn't fit, arguing is pointless. The clock is ticking, boarding is closing, and your options are either surrender the bag or lose the flight. No amount of pleading will change that. Moral of the story? Don't gamble at the gate. Measure your bag before you leave home. If you're carrying something fragile or valuable, be ready with a plan B, like buying a seat for it in advance or confirming special handling rules with the airline. Because if you leave it to chance, your dream trip could end before it begins. Reason 2, you showed up on time, but the gate was already closed. Here's one that catches even the most seasoned travelers off guard. You arrive at the airport, clear security, grab a quick coffee, maybe even sit down for a snack because, hey, you're on time. Your boarding pass says the flight departs at 4:30 and it's only 4:05. You think you're golden. But then you stroll over to the gate and the door is shut. Your plane is still sitting there, maybe even connected to the jet bridge. But the gate agent shakes their head. Sorry, the gate is closed. And just like that, you're not going anywhere. Here's the trap. Flight time is not boarding time. Most airlines close the gate about 15 minutes before departure, but in 2025, some have started closing it even earlier. Why? Efficiency? If all passengers have checked in, airlines don't wait around. They shut the gate, finalize paperwork, and prep for pushback. That means you could be locked out while your plane is still parked right in front of you. And once the door is closed, it's game over. No amount of begging, arguing, or sprinting down the concourse will change it. I've seen travelers running, breathless after hearing their names on the loudspeaker, only to arrive at an empty counter staring at the sealed boarding door. That sinking feeling? Pure devastation. The takeaway: whatever time you think you need, get to the gate earlier. Don't just rely on the departure time. Build in a buffer because once that door shuts, your seat might as well belong to a ghost. Reason 3, your name doesn't match your ID. This one sounds so small, almost laughable, until it ruins your trip. Imagine standing at the gate, ticket in hand, passport ready, and the agent frowns. Why? Because the name on your boarding pass doesn't exactly match your ID. Not close, not almost right. It has to be letter for letter perfect. Airlines don't play around with this. International security rules are strict, and in 2025, enforcement has gotten even tighter. Something as innocent as using Sam instead of Samuel or Liz instead of Elizabeth can be enough to raise a red flag. That tiny difference? It can stop you from stepping on the plane. And then there are the stories that sound unbelievable, like the guy who thought it was funny to book a ticket for his friend under the name Fluffy McKittens. The joke ended fast when security refused to let him fly, or the traveler who missed her honeymoon because of a single misplaced hyphen in her last name. Painful lessons learned too late. Here's the kicker. Fixing a typo at the airport isn't always possible. Some airlines don't allow corrections at the gate at all. Others will charge a hefty fee. And if you're already pressed for time, that mistake can cost you the entire trip. The solution? Always double check when you book. Use your full legal name exactly as it appears on your passport or government ID. If you spot an error, correct it before you leave home, even if it costs money. Because trust me, that small detail is worth far more than the heartbreak of hearing, "You can't board." Reason 4, you missed the check-in cutoff. Here's a cruel twist. You can arrive at the airport early, breeze through the terminal, and still get denied boarding, all because you missed a deadline you didn't even know existed. I'm talking about the check-in cutoff. Most airlines close check-in 30 to 60 minutes before departure. That means if you haven't checked in online, dropped your bags, or gotten your boarding pass by that magic minute, you're done. Security won't even let you through. And here's the trap in 2025. Some airlines are quietly tightening these windows. No warning. No email. Just surprise. Picture this. You've got an hour until takeoff, you're standing in line at the check-in desk, and suddenly the agent says, "Sorry, check-in is closed." You look at the clock. Still plenty of time until departure. But it doesn't matter. Their system has locked you out. You're left standing there with luggage in hand while your flight takes off without you. And this happens more often at big, chaotic airports. Long security lines, confusing terminals, and people who think, "I'll just check in at the counter." They're the ones getting blindsided. Even worse, some airlines change the rules by route. A 60-minute cutoff in one city could shrink to 45 in another. The golden rule: check in online whenever possible. Do it the moment the window opens, sometimes up to 24 hours in advance. Save your boarding pass to your phone, print a backup if you're paranoid, and know your airline's exact deadlines. Because nothing stings more than watching the plane you paid for leave while you never even made it past the front desk. Reason 5, you refused facial recognition at the gate. Welcome to the future of flying, where your face is your boarding pass. In 2025, more airports than ever are using facial recognition technology at the gate. Instead of scanning a ticket, a camera scans your face and cross-checks it against your passport photo in a government database. It's fast, sleek, and a little unnerving. Here's where travelers get burned, refusing to participate. Some passengers, worried about privacy, push back. And while on a few domestic flights you might still opt out, international flights are a whole different story. In certain cases, especially if you're not a citizen of the country you're flying from, saying no to the camera means you're not flying at all. Period. Even when opting out is allowed, it's not smooth. A manual ID check takes time. And if the line is long or the flight is close to departure, that delay can eat up your entire boarding window. I've seen people forced to watch their plane roll away simply because they waited too long in the manual check lane. This technology is spreading quickly, and like it or not, it's becoming the norm. Critics argue it's invasive, supporters love the speed, but the truth is, for now, your opinion doesn't matter at the gate. The camera decides. So if you're uneasy about being scanned, research your airline and route ahead of time. Find out if you'll have the option to opt out or risk being that traveler stranded behind the glass watching everyone else board. Reason 6, you were rude to airline staff. This one stings because it feels so human. You've had a long day. The airport is chaos. Delays, baggage fees, cramped seats. Your frustration boils over. You roll your eyes, snap at the gate agent, maybe even mutter something under your breath. And suddenly, the agent freezes, looks you in the eye and says, "Sir, you won't be flying today." Yes, in 2025, being rude can get you kicked off a flight before you even board. Airline staff are trained to spot red flag behavior, and they have the authority to deny boarding if they believe you'll be a problem in the air. It doesn't matter if you think you're right or if the issue feels unfair. Their judgment call is final. There are real stories. A woman denied after losing her temper about baggage fees. A man pulled aside just for being sarcastic at check-in. It doesn't take much. A raised voice, a sharp tone, even a smirk at the wrong moment. All it takes is one staff member deciding you're a potential risk. Here's the brutal truth. Once you're labeled as disruptive, your ticket is worthless. You won't win an argument, and trying to fight back will only make things worse. So the survival tip? Keep it cool. No matter how unfair it feels, smile, stay calm, and treat the gate staff like they hold your vacation in their hands, because they do. Sometimes your entire trip depends less on airport rules and more on your attitude in the heat of the moment. Reason 7. You got bumped from an overbooked flight. Here's the gut punch. You did everything right. Checked in early, arrived on time, smiled at the staff, played by every rule. And yet, when boarding starts, you hear your name, not to welcome you, but to tell you you're not flying today. Why? Because the airline sold more tickets than there are seats. Overbooking isn't new, but in 2025 it's happening more aggressively. Airlines gamble that a few passengers won't show up, but when everyone does, someone's getting left behind. At first they'll ask for volunteers, offering vouchers, hotel stays, sometimes even cash. Sounds tempting, right? But if nobody bites, they start picking passengers. And here's the kicker. It's not always random. Your fate can depend on when you checked in, the type of ticket you bought, or whether you're in the airline's loyalty program. Basic economy passengers, they're often the first to get the boot. Low fare, low priority. It's cold, but that's how the system works. Picture it. You're standing there, ticket in hand, ready to board, and suddenly you're escorted out of line while someone else takes your seat. The humiliation, the frustration, the helplessness. It's a travel nightmare you can't fight in the moment. So what's the defense? Check in as early as possible. Join the loyalty program even if you only fly once a year. And when booking, consider avoiding the rock bottom fare if you can. Because sometimes the cheapest ticket comes with the highest chance of being left at the gate. Reason 8. You smelled weird. This one is awkward, but very real. In 2025, passengers are being denied boarding for something as personal as smell. It's not just about bad hygiene. Gate agents and flight crews have the power to pull you aside if they believe your odor, whether from body odor, heavy perfume, essential oils, or even lingering cigarette smoke, might cause discomfort or health issues for other passengers. And here's the twist. There's no official rule book. It's entirely up to the airline's judgment. Imagine this scene. You've rushed through the airport after a long commute, sweating under your jacket. Or maybe you sprayed on one too many pumps of cologne to freshen up. At the gate, a staff member discreetly pulls you aside and says you won't be allowed to board. No warning, no second chance. Just a flat no. And before you think this is rare, know that crews are increasingly cautious. On a packed plane, even a single complaint can escalate quickly. Allergic reactions, nausea, or passenger discomfort. Airlines would rather avoid the risk entirely by leaving you behind. The lesson here is simple, but critical. Be scent aware. Freshen up before you leave for the airport, but go easy on perfumes or sprays. Wash off smoke if you've been outside. Make sure you're travel clean, not scented candle warehouse. Because in the tight quarters of a cabin, what you smell like isn't just personal. It could determine whether you fly at all. Reason 9. You didn't have the right ID or a passport. Here's a nightmare that sneaks up on travelers every single day. You arrive at the airport, documents in hand, only to be told your ID or passport isn't valid, and suddenly your trip is over before it begins. Not all IDs are created equal, and in 2025, the rules are stricter than ever. If your passport is expired, damaged, or missing blank pages, airlines won't let you near the gate. Some countries demand at least 6 months of validity from the day you arrive, not when you leave. Others require multiple blank visa pages. Even a tiny rip, water damage, or a smudge on the photo page can flag you as too risky to fly. And it's not just international flights. In the US, the real ID law is tightening its grip. That old driver's license you've always used, in many states it won't cut it anymore. Show up with the wrong ID and TSA will simply wave you back, straight out of the line. Picture it. You've planned a dream vacation, your bags are packed, and everything's ready. But because of a worn-out passport cover or a missing stamp page, you're standing at the counter helpless, watching your plane take off without you. The fix? Double-check every detail before you fly. Know your destination's passport rules. Make sure your ID meets current standards, not last year's. And if your passport looks even slightly damaged, don't take chances. Renew it early. Because when it comes to boarding, the difference between a flawless trip and a total disaster can be one flimsy piece of paper. Reason 10. You booked with a glitch and didn't know it. This one feels like pure betrayal. You find an amazing flight deal online, everything looks perfect. Your confirmation email arrives and you think, score! But when you get to the airport, the gate agent squints at their screen and says, I'm sorry, but you're not in our system. Just like that, your dream ticket vanishes into thin air. It happens more often than you'd think. Payment glitches, failed card authorizations, or booking errors from third-party sites can create what's called a ghost reservation. To you, it looks like a real ticket. But to the airline, it's nothing. And if your name isn't in their database at check-in, you're not going anywhere. Even worse, some travelers find out their booking was quietly canceled, sometimes by accident, sometimes because of system errors. 2 one-way tickets on separate airlines can also confuse the system, leading to a broken reservation. You thought you were being clever, piecing together a cheap itinerary, but the airline's computer saw chaos and wiped you out. And here's the kicker. By the time you realize what's happened, it's usually too late. The plane is boarding, the clock is ticking, and you're stranded with nothing but an email confirmation that no one will honor. The defense? Always double confirm directly with the airline a few days before your trip. Don't just trust the third-party booking site. Call the airline, check your booking online, and screenshot everything. That tiny extra step could save you from the heartbreak of watching your plane leave while you're stuck arguing at the desk with proof that doesn't matter. Reason 11. You were flagged by mistake and ended up on a no-fly list. This is the nightmare scenario, the one no traveler ever sees coming. You've checked in, you've cleared security, everything feels normal. But at the gate, the agent frowns, types a few keys, and suddenly says, I'm sorry, you can't board. Step aside, please. No explanation, no chance to argue. Just a cold stop to your trip. Why? Because your name was flagged. In rare but very real cases, passengers are wrongly placed on no-fly lists or security databases, sometimes because their name matches someone else's, sometimes because of a past in-flight incident, even a small one, or worse, because of a computer glitch. Imagine the horror. One woman showed up for her sister's wedding only to discover she'd been banned from flying. She hadn't done anything wrong. It was a clerical mistake. But clearing her name took weeks, and by the time it was fixed, the wedding was long over. And here's the brutal truth. You can't always prevent this. The system isn't transparent, and when it happens, you're stuck in limbo with almost no answers, but you can lower the risk. Don't joke about bombs or security, ever. Don't cause drama during flights, even small arguments, because records linger. And if you've had past issues, call the airline before you fly to confirm your status. Because finding out you're flagged at the gate? That's far too late. Your vacation, your business trip, even your family reunion could all vanish in a split second, with you powerless to stop it. So there you have it, 11 shocking reasons why travelers are being denied boarding in 2025. And as you've seen, it's not just the obvious ones like showing up late or forgetting your passport. It's the sneaky details, the tiny mistakes, the random policies, and sometimes sheer bad luck that can turn a dream trip into a nightmare. Think about it. Your bag being 1 inch too big, a name typo, a gate closing earlier than you thought, or even just a sharp word to the wrong staff member. All of these can slam the door shut on your travel plans. And the wildest part? Many passengers only find out after it's too late, stranded in the terminal while their plane takes off without them. But here's the good news. Knowledge is power. By knowing these pitfalls ahead of time, you can dodge them. Measure your bag. Double check your documents, check in early, stay cool at the gate, confirm your booking, and most importantly, never assume you're safe just because you've done it before. In 2025, the rules are stricter, the systems are tighter, and the margin for error is razor thin. If you've ever found yourself frustrated by airline policies, or if you learned something new today that could save your next trip, do me a quick favor, hit that like button. And if you want more insider travel tips to protect your time, money, and sanity at the airport, subscribe and join this community of smart travelers who don't just fly, they fly prepared. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about getting on a plane, it's about making sure nothing, not a glitch, not a policy, not a mistake, can stop you from reaching the destination you've been dreaming of.